Hello, Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Tuesday, February 8th. In this episode, Manchester United play well for them for a half and then crash out of the FA Cup in the fourth round. Kidderminster have their hearts ripped out twice in one game by West Ham. That was cruel. But first, Mike, are Spurs back in the baby douchico of Brighton versus Spurs? I thought you guys were good. You got lucky,
we were.
maybe
We
good,
were.
maybe
No,
lucky,
no. Definitely a little bit of luck. Brighton certainly had some chances, but no, I don't. This is the thing I hate about European football and the shit media. No, Tottenham are not back. Yes, Tottenham are still shit. Yes, they still have a chance to get in the top four. Yes, they might win the FA Cup. All of those things are still undeniably true, right?
All right.
The thing that happened was this was the first game since the transfer window shut. And as we covered, they got rid of a lot of the dead wood. My beloved Deli included, but more so Giovanni Lo Celso and Tanguy Ndombele, guys who either couldn't hack it, didn't want to be there, had bad luck, injuries, all this shit. The fans were just over them. And if you've listened to the show once, you've heard me complain about Tanguy Ndombele, and not even because he sucks. It's because he's actually incredibly talented. So, yes, this was a paradigm-shifting win because the 11 that Antonio Conte put out there knew that there is a target on literally everybody's back in the club. Maybe not Kane. He's probably the only one. But everybody is on notice. Perform, do as I say, or you will not play. And then in the summer, you will not be here, right?
Yeah.
So
I thought Son, too, made a huge difference.
Huge. So and I was going to say huge difference. And I did not realize when we were doing the preview, if I did, I would have said bet on them. Cuddy Romero was great. It's really good to have him back.
Yeah.
And then and he kind of just settles everything down. And then obviously having Sonny to play the Robin to Kane's Batman is massive, right? So even if he's not having a Son-like year, despite injuries or whatever, yeah, having him be a threat takes it inherently makes Kane better, even if they're just standing on the field at the same time, because you have one more thing to think about, right?
And we're gonna do that. I feel I'm itching to do scores.
Do some scores.
I'm gonna rev up. Here we go. Scores. We start from Friday. Here we go. Manchester United 1, Middlesboro 1. Sancho scores a first half goal. United are back for 40 minutes, and then they're not. Middlesboro and Chris Wilder, I told you. They pull it out 8-7 on penalties. They don't miss a penalty. Middlesboro goes through on a handball or goal from the venerable Duncan Watmore, comes back from Sunderland in my brain. We discussed it. Spurs were good against Brighton. Basuma was good, like I said, but the two goals early, the first one from Kane was really good. The Solly March own goal, I don't know how Royal got that goal, but I thought second half, I was worried for you. I thought that maybe Brighton might get back in it. Cambridge 0, Luton Town 3. Don't know about those people. Norwich defeat Wolverhampton Wanderers. Weird and not weird. Wolverhampton giving up only one goal and not scoring. Very, very normal. Yes! Stoke defeat fucking Wigan. Fuck off! Goodbye, Wigan. Stuart Armstrong with the goal of the round. Southampton 2, Coventry City 1. Goodbye, Sky Blues. We love all our Sky Blue friends. Peterborough United, last in the championship, defeat Queen's Park Rangers, who are in a chance for the playoffs, but they get they get City next. Ooh, City 4, Fulham 1. Carvalho scored in the first 5 minutes. One of my sons also being noticed by Liverpool. He was fucking amazing. Fulham came to play, but then just got cityed. Huddersfield Town over Barnsley. Don't know, don't care. Oh, Everton 4 under Frank Lampard. Brentford 1. Tony got a penalty, but this is a change. I believe that Everton scored 4 goals for the first time in 3 years. Another one of my sons, Alisi, brings Crystal Palace through. They win 2-0. Kidderminster Harriers 1. West Ham 2. That was fucking cruel. West Ham tie it in the 91st minute. Win it in the 120th minute. Talk about pain. It gives my arm stands up. Chelsea 2. Plymouth Argyle 1. Plymouth Argyle had a penalty in extra time. The taker's legs were shaking. Poor bastard was so afraid in front of the shed end. Boreham Wood, the lowest ranked team, non-league, defeat AFC Bournemouth. Wow, that's a big one. Nottingham Forest, 2-time European champions, defeat in a derby such a big derby that one of the fans went on the field and punched someone in the face.
Yeah,
Leicester
we'll talk about
3-1.
that.
But this is more about Rodgers kind of done with his team, and Liverpool play the kids just like City, and they defeat Cardiff with no problem. Where do you want to go, Mike?
Let's talk about Nottingham Forest and Leicester, because that was something unique. We had a fan run. I'm gonna look right in the camera. We had a fan run on the field from Leicester and attack the celebrating goal huddle, if you will, of the Nottingham Forest players.
He got a full right hand on the guy.
To which they turned around, and their genuine shock was coming through, right? But like,
yeah.
I'm sort of glad. I'm of two minds of this. I'm sort of glad that they didn't be like, right, let's fucking jump them, because there might have been more guys coming.
That could have gone badly.
That could have gotten really weird, because it would have quickly become like 11 versus 10,000. Yeah. But also, like, I kind of wanted to see that guy get the fuck beaten out of him. Like, I really was like, yo, listen, first of all, you run on the field, and there's like there seems to be like a cultural, like it's a thing, or it has become a thing where people are sending not just their drunk selves, like that's a whole one category, but they're like encouraging their kids to go run over to like Cristiano Ronaldo and like get a picture with him or some shit. Dude.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a season of crazy fandom, especially in France. But this has happened before, I believe, when Aston Villa was still in the championship. Jack Grealish got punched in the back of the head by a Birmingham City supporter.
Oh, I thought
he was just like, "Oh, that was weird."
I thought it was
no, it was not Millwall. It was Birmingham. It was a derby, a big
right.
So this is a derby. This is a Midlands derby, and Nottingham Forest have a lot of history and a lot of fans. They're still probably the biggest team in the championship. Huge team. But they really kicked the shit out of Leicester, who are really fragile right now. Like, they scored, they played well in the first 10, 15 minutes. One goal went in, and Leicester completely fell apart. Then they just then it was all Nottingham Forest the rest of the way. They scored 3 goals in 9 minutes in a period in the first half, and things just fell apart from there. Goals, all in the first half. Schneigmichael, Johnson, and Worrell, and Leicester.
Say Schneigmichael 5 times fast.
I think it's Znicker Nagel.
Wow,
I had it very wrong.
Leicester, to put it in American sports terms, Leicester feel like an NFL team that is like 3-7, and it's like, well, we're not going to make the playoffs even if we win out. We're not going to go all the way down. We're not going to have a top 5 pick. We don't have really anything to
I've got another
for.
analogy for that. You know what they are? They're a losing Super Bowl team the next season. Those teams are never good. They never come back. Right. They never play well again. It feels that way. Like, feels very Atlanta Falcons after both their Super Bowls that they lost, right?
Well, that's true.
Just kind of, you're like, they're good. I like them. Is the coach actually good? Maybe not. They kind of feel like the Eagles after Peterson won. They've got this FA
their best
Cup,
player left to free agency.
They're just like, what the fuck? We're kind of like this. We're done. Like, we've made it, right? Yeah. So Rodgers takes them to these 2 top 5 finishes that in and of themselves are amazing, but they slipped at the end both times with Rodgers, and it's a little bit weird, the slipping. Both days losing it on the last day of the season. But last season, they won an FA Cup, a huge deal for Leicester.
Sure.
They win the league. But and Rodgers after this game is just like, players think that they're fine. They think that they're better than they are. We've lost all our hunger. We're not where we're supposed to be. I think it's time for some players to go. Like, this might be their last game. Like, he really just goes all in. It's just like, this is his most embarrassing game. Not other games, not anything else this season, but he really has taken this as like a watershed game for Leicester, where maybe he's angling for an out. I don't know what team he would be coached for, but it seems like he's putting himself on the line of saying, you back me and get the guys out, or we need more players or something. Because the Rodgers experience is ending there, or the players that were part of this rise have to get moved on.
Well, let's get deeper into Leicester, because let's go back to their storybook season, their title winning season, right? They lost Mahrez right after that.
It was Conte they lost right away.
So they kept Mahrez for another season?
They kept Mahrez and Vardy for the next
Vardy's
season.
Still there, but But
Right.
the point that I'm getting at is that they started to have pieces picked off, as you see all the time.
Danny Drinkwater, don't forget.
Right. So I think you had good recruitment. I think that you brought in Tielemans. I don't remember exactly when you brought along Madison. So there was a good combination of recruitment, Barnes, and bringing people through the academy.
They have a lot of injuries this year. It's really hurting.
And they've had a tremendous amount of injuries, right? And Wes Morgan and their defense gets old and broken and whatever else. The problem is that they don't have they are more ambitious than Spurs over that time, and it's not close.
Sure.
But they have the similar problem where they kind of can't miss on big ones. Not that they have made big splashes, I suppose.
I think that Fofana breaking his leg in the first game of the season, not great.
Well, absolutely.
Johnny Evans.
No, but I'm looking at it. At it over the last 5 years, right? And so
yeah.
Look, there's an inflection point here that I don't think a lot of people draw conclusions back to. But their owner dying tragically and leaving the club basically sort of as an orphan, right? They have owners and all that stuff. But
the son is there.
Yeah, but that guy was bought all the way in. Right? So I don't know. I would have to look into it more, but it feels like the recruitment and the business side of things from Leicester's perspective has fallen off since then. And look, I mean, you can make a direct argument to their finishes in the table, right? Because they were a consistent top 4 threat after that title, and then they're sort of starting to now. You see,
you had the Shakespeare season, you had the Puel season, which was awful. The change is Rodgers is a good coach. Like he lifted them up, he got them to play.
Yeah,
he put them in the better position. He put the kids in the position. They've been decimated. I think it's a Rodgers thing where he's a nearly there. I mean, and getting that FA Cup was important for him, but they have no competition for places. The big issue they have is who's pushing Tielemans? Nobody. Who's behind Soyuncu? Nobody.
Well,
they had the good wing backs. They had, I can't remember. They had Pereira and the other one on the other side. Oh, Ben Chilwell, who got taken away, right? Also really, really good.
Yeah.
Castagna. So they have these good players that are moved on and moved up, and Ndidi has been in Africa all this time, and that's been a difficulty for them. The Patson Daka thing I think has worked. I think you can have expected.
I don't think you can ask much more of him.
Yeah, he's been good, exciting.
In limited
he gives you like okay, this is going to happen. Iheanacho has been okay. Madison had a trouble at first, but he's been playing well. The problem is defense. They're terrible. They can't stop set pieces. They give up goals on set pieces like they're easy. Like Soyuncu's decline, the fact that I thought he was good at one time, and I was like, oh, Spurs should get Soyuncu. Clearly, Johnny Evans literally was on a marionette and was telling him where to go. Because Soyuncu was fast. He seemed to be reckless but in control. He had a Nico Otamendi quality to him.
He did.
Or a Davinson Sanchez quality to him. Or a Tanguy. Who's your fullback, the black guy from France?
Serge Aurier.
So he had a Serge Aurier. That sort of aggressive, no, yes, or yes, no. That kind of like, oh, please don't go down. Or so he has that quality, but now it's just not working at all, and he's in the wrong places. So they seem to be giving up goals like crazy on that, and I can't figure it out. But this was a watershed moment for them in that they really are damaged. Yeah. And they don't have a leader and a messiah and a player who won't let them lose the way that West Ham do. And I transitioned this really well right into Declan Rice.
I just want to be so sad for Kidderminster. All right, our friends from the UK, thank you for listening, by the way. We see you. If you have friends who are Kidderminster supporters, please give them our biggest condolences. Give them a hug. Like, I know. You guys don't have any restrictions over there anymore. Just go give the fucking people a hug. They need it. That's rip your heart out and show it to you twice. West Ham with the late, as you alluded to in the scores, Rice with the last second 91st minute equalizer, and then was it Bowen in the 120 minutes?
Yeah, of course. My other son comes in.
Just
legend.
And it was interesting. So, a friend of the show, Jesse Marshall, writer at The Athletic, big West Ham supporter. We had him on last year. We should do that again sometime.
Yeah.
But so I watch him go through the West Ham motions.
Oh, baby.
And he's very active on Twitter during the matches and all that stuff. And it was just, and we talked about it as the window closed, how they didn't have any ambition and they didn't bring anybody in. And it just felt like such a stale project the entire game. And I honestly, I watched more of Jesse's Twitter account than I did the match, even though
because it wasn't good. It was bad. It was not a good game.
No.
But Moyes, to his credit, he tries to get a lot out of the squad. There's nothing there. Second half, 45th minute, Declan Rice comes on. He's like, not to fucking day.
Yeah.
Then 63rd minute, he brings on Soucek. He's like, we're goodbye, Mark Noble. Fuck off. Then late on, he brings on Fornells. He's like, Vlasic, you're shit. Let's get the band back together. The only guy I'm not bringing on is Antonio, who he clearly has to rest for these bigger games.
Right.
And Declan Rice is just like that goal that he scores at the end. He picks it up from the 3-quarter line in his own half, runs through the whole of Kidderminster, does like a 2-step in the box, cuts on, gets past 3 defenders, fires it top shelf, and does a fucking Michael Jackson hee-hee dance and grabs his dick. Fucking incredible. Just like in the 91st minute to just be like, not today. Like heroic, like Roy the Rovers classic. And just to do that, to be the man at a team, to have that moment, to be English, to have the pundits just be like, Declan Rice should be a Manchester United player. If I were Declan Rice, and I don't care how much he loves Chelsea, I would just be like, I'm never leaving West Ham. I don't care. I'm going to make this team a team to be reckoned with. Because if he stays,
he's a legend. He is a star.
He's a legend. And maybe Mark Noble, who he really, really loves. So he had an interview with Phil Neville. He does this sort of like meetup thing where he like walks through the guy's neighborhood and they talk shit.
Oh, you mean on a golf course 3 days after the season?
No, not that. This is like Harry Kane was special. He
is special
in the neighborhood. Like they go through like bad guys' neighborhoods anyway. So Declan Rice is just like, oh, Mark Noble is the best. He's the guy. He was so effusive about how cool he was to him and kind and whatever. And I was like, oh, Mark Noble, really? He seemed like a real fucking asshole, but he just seemed, I guess he made that transition really good. But maybe he'll stay. I hope he doesn't go to Chelsea. Like, people who go to Chelsea with expectations seem to fail. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of guys you don't expect to do well, do really well at Chelsea. It's when you're like, oh my God, he's Chelsea through and through, and he goes to Chelsea, and it's a catastrophe.
Yeah.
like I don't want Rice and Mount at Chelsea. Like, it doesn't work with Tuchel, the Germanness. Let them all be foreigners and weird and like weird Soviet guys. But Rice at West Ham would be amazing. Merson's already banging a drum. Oh, United have to sign him. And that's sort of where we go there.
Hey, real quick. Remember that time 2 idiots with microphones said United has to sign him a fucking year ago? I remember that because it was us.
Of course. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's like,
hey, Manchester United, gosh, you guys are buying a lot of fucking attackers. That feels like you don't need any attackers. What you need is a 6 to keep your fucking line together. What you need is Declan Rice. You know what?
So Kidderminster, we're sad for. Kidderminster, really good. They have a really, really, I mean, maybe it's old guy yelling at cloud moment, but they have a really cool super fan in Robert Plant, the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin's still cool, right?
Yes. Led Zeppelin's so cool that a band basically my age is more or less new Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
They're Greta Van Fleet, and they're literally put them on, and you can't tell the fucking difference. Aside from like 2 songs that I know are theirs.
So apparently Robert Plant is a Wolves guy, but he's been going to these Kidderminster Harries games. So that's cool. God
bless him. That's fun.
That's cool. That's super cool. I like that a lot. So he was there. Kidderminster, respect to them. And then we transition to a team that don't deserve any respect. And it's Manchester United, who in the first game, in the spotlight, at home, play well. They were good. In the first half of that game, they were good. But as per usual, missed chances, missed chances, missed chances. As a City fan who knows, when you miss chances to these shitty teams that bunker in with good coaching, you will rue those missed chances. So second half, they're dominating. I think in this game, United, I think, had 30 shots, 10 on target. I mean, it's just a dominant performance, but not so much in the second half. And we knew Chris Wilder would find a way to pull his team back together. And he effectively did and neutralized a little bit of what United was doing. They did have an open goal on a mistake by their goalkeeper that Bruno Fernandes missed. Just straight up missed. And it was a moment when, like, Cristiano Ronaldo was pressing. It was crazy.
So
Ronaldo missed a penalty as well. I mean, the first.
I didn't get to see this one, but a friend of mine is a United supporter, and he texted me, and I went, "Oh my god, that's right." He's like, "This is bullshit." I went, "They lost." So I saw the highlights.
But the replay on the handball is like,
yeah,
really
but just the stats: 30 shots for United, 9 on target. Like, that's a lot on target, but 30 shots. So for Burrow to get through is frankly miraculous, right? Yeah. Like 913 passes to 369. Like, it was dominant, downhill running the entire game.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think that United fans should kill United. I mean, they got Pogba in. They're going through this thing with Greenwood, which is really bad. As much as we make terrible jokes, I mean, they have a teammate who's 20 years old who's gonna fucking go to jail, or something terrible.
I saw that United made a statement, or not a statement. They emailed any fan who bought an officially licensed from the club Mason Greenwood jersey in the last, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 seasons.
They're letting them trade them in.
Yeah, they're letting them trade them in for a new kit this season. And I think that's really an interesting and active.
It's done. It's not unusual.
No. I know. Believe me, I actually have had kits traded in for other numbers. I have a story about that for another time. But I think that's really, really interesting. And the funny thing, though, is that they said that Fanatics, a US-based company who is synonymous with fucking up orders, they own everything now, and they just go wide in their distribution system. But as their actual production, they're awful. Awful. They're the guys who bought our old company. Anyway, so I joked on the Squeaky Bum Time Twitter account, which you should all follow if you're listening to this, that this is a really great gesture by United, but I would keep the shirt just because I'm pretty sure that Fanatics would spell Ronaldo wrong on a new one or some shit like that, you know?
Yeah. So one thing that was weird about this, and I do question why Alanga was the last one taking a penalty. It was the 8th penalty. I just feel bad for, British.
No, after five,
it's out of their hands. It just feels shitty that, of course, Alanga really misses it badly. Young player. Yeah. The abuse comes his way. It's sad.
Very similar.
It
sucks. Hold on.
But
we talked about this after the Euro when Saka was that guy. Yeah. Now, that was a totally different scenario because he was the 5th shooter or the 4th, whatever it was. Like, he was placed there.
Yeah.
And that was what was wrong about it.
Yeah.
I talk a lot on the show, like, why would you have your best shooter go last if you risk not having him shoot, right?
It happened in the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah. So nonetheless, that was different because he should have never been in that position. Alanga didn't have anywhere to hide, really.
Yeah, he's on the field. Right? It happened. So that stinks.
So but unfortunate. The also, abuse does anytime a black player misses something, and I know this is February, so this is sack fucking religious at this point, like, it's not because people are racist. It's because people are subhuman and yelling at a kid because their team lost a match. But now we're already going to detach ourselves. We're going to choose when we're allowing people to be fanatical and not, right? So, like, first and foremost, shut the fuck up.
It's bad.
Second, sending him a happy tweet on social media is equally as stupid as saying, "You piece of shit, you missed the penalty." But to be very clear, and I know there is a subset.
They literally probably just send him fucking monkey emojis.
Well, okay, and I was going to say, I know that there is a subset of this abuse that do have extremely racist connotations to it.
Yeah, but if most fans are just yelling at him because he's an asshole and he missed.
But if I'm in the stadium and Right. And I'm a United fan, and goal, and Elanga misses and we lose. I go, oh fuck. Right?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch, we lost the fucking guy, you fucking kid. What the fuck? Blah blah blah. I'm
That
a
doesn't
racist
mean you're
now?
a racist. No.
Come on.
No, it's
So
the bad
wrong
stuff.
it's wrong to yell at them. It's wrong. Leave the fucking kids alone on social media. Leave them the fuck alone. Argue with each other. Argue with us. We're shitheads. We're worthless. Argue with us. Leave the fucking kids alone.
So one thing I do take the victory lap. I called it. I was like, Chris Wilder.
You said
Chris
no.
Wilder's gonna fight.
You said even more. You said it's going to be a draw and they'll lose on penalties.
If and you said, is this going to be your plus 1,000? I never looked at the line. If I had gone for it, my God, we might have to make a Patreon where we do the betting stuff and just kind of do it on another day because it seems like a lot. And maybe
nobody would buy that. I'm going to tell you.
You know what? Maybe they would.
I'm going to tell the listener, if we ever do that, don't subscribe to it. Okay, it's horrible advice. In fact, if you do,
you're an idiot. No.
Actually, if you are going to fade every pick, and you'll be about 80% right. You won't make any money because it'll be like Liverpool minus 375 against Norwich. But
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, who knows? Okay, who knows?
We have track records from the early part of the season. We know, and anybody who listens, they know.
I'm still up $300. They called me, Bet USA.
Really?
Yeah, they're checking on me. I do have a question. So we've got Boreham Wood still through. They hurt. They're a non-league side. They celebrate. So the wonder of the cup is still there, but not really. Because in the round of 16, aka the fifth round, it's all championship sides and Premier League sides, except for Boreham Wood, who take out Bournemouth, who are really focused on making it back to the Premier League. But I do have a question. When and how are cup runs worth it? Like, what are they for? Because really, we all know that eventually you run into one of the mega buzz sauces of City or
you're saying
Chelsea.
a cup run for a lower level team,
or not even lower level, at the championship level, at the back half of the Premier League level. When is it not worth it anymore? For West Ham, I think it is worth it. For Brighton, I think it was worth it. For Spurs, I think it's definitely worth it. But maybe not for top four, not if it's in.
Well, that's what I mean, right? So the
Yeah.
only clubs that I find that you could argue it's not necessarily worth it, and I've said this about the League Cup every year in succession, right? Is that it becomes and Europa League too. I've always said, and by the way, if I've said it about Europa League, I sure as shit have said it about the Europa Conference League.
That you guys are out of on a technicality.
First English club ever to be eliminated from the Europa Conference League. Put it in the trophy case. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going to have all of these, frankly, distractions from your mission, which is to compete for a Champions League spot, realistically, right? And ideally the Premier League title, but not recently. So those are your two mission statements at the beginning of the year, including the FA Cup as well. But if you're Spurs or probably later Everton or a Leicester or a West Ham or an Arsenal,
I'm thinking
where those teams are all sort of embroiled in that 4-ish spot.
Yeah.
Not necessarily Everton, I'm just saying. But like, yeah, I mean, it becomes a distraction, right?
Well, I'm thinking more of teams like, and you don't have to know about this stuff, but like a team like Nottingham Forest. They're 25 years out of the Premier League. I think they're now on year 16 in the championship. Mm-hmm. This is the best team they've had in probably 5 to 10 years. They actually have a good coach. They're playing well. They're 2 points off the playoff spot. They make this amazing win against Leicester. Do they keep driving for it? Because, I mean, if you think making it to the Champions League is worth a lot of money, try making it to the Premier League. That's worth a lot of fucking money.
I get it.
So those are the sort of things like, when is a cup run worth it? And I listened to something today that the guy said, it's just like, you just have to play the next game and hope for moments, right? Like,
exactly.
Just because you make the fourth round, it doesn't mean you change your priorities and go, oh, we're going to emphasize it now that we're in the fifth round.
Right.
You just go, I'm just going to have another game.
So
and I got to have a derby with Leicester, and it was amazing.
So Forest is sort of, I was going to say, Forest is sort of a bad example because they had a derby where they were home. You're not going to turn a blind eye to that, right? If you can knock off your Premier League rival,
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, you get jazzed up for that. In fact, in retrospect, Nottingham Forest.
In fact, the Leicester fans were throwing chairs through the cafes in the streets of
exactly,
which is pretty incredible.
And then
that stuff still goes on.
I think about how Nottingham Forest is on this run. It's very similar to the Champions League run that Spurs made.
Yeah.
And every whatever it is, like May 26th at this point, like I get to sit down and watch Lucas Moura highlights the whole day, right? Like, so no, we didn't win the tournament that year. No, we lost the final, obviously, but like I still have those memories. And I get to giggle about them once or twice a year, every year until I'm fucking dead. And that's what Nottingham Forest fans feel, right? The trouble is you on your ivory tower, you don't see how the rest of us live, but you just accumulate wealth and trophies and success. Whereas the rest of us, it's like the Monty Python skit where like they're like the two serfs are like throwing shit at each other and then they get into an argument about government. But like, which used to be funny, by the way. Like any grasp at success you can have, which is why they have the fucking League Cup. It's because of money.
Yeah, it's fun. Well,
but,
it's to make money because they found out
I was going to say,
work.
Yeah. but if, like you said, you don't change your mission because you've advanced in the FA Cup. For some clubs, it does become a bit of a distraction because one more game, we're into the quarterfinals now. So that becomes a higher priority, whereas you've got Spurs playing, let's say, Crystal Palace in the quarterfinal at Selhurst Park, and oh, by the way, 3 days later they have to go to Anfield in the Premier League.
You guys have, you know what I mean? We actually have the next round. You have Borough.
No, I know. I'm saying
okay.
If you win that one, you get Palace, you're going to get a Premier League side at that point. So you're not adding games against Kidderminster or Coventry. You're adding games at that point to the schedule that are significant in both value, in both fan equity, if you will, but also now there's a roadblock to your actual mission, right? And so that's kind of where
and that's why teams like the United in '99 get a lot of credit and people consider them a great team, because at the business end of the season, being in 3 competitions is really fucking hard.
It's difficult.
You're fucking burnt out. You're like, could I just not give a shit about some game, please? Because I'm tired. Yes, even though that team only had 79 points. They're not the greatest team ever. Shut the fuck up. They should have lost. Anyway, I'm not going to yell about that. They were good the next year, though. They did play really well in 99-2000. But yeah, I agree. I think it's one of these things that's interesting about where you are in the status of your club and how you get to where you're going to go and what happens next. And I think, for Spurs, I think it's something to target because on a one-off game, you're one of the teams that can beat someone, right? You can beat City. It happens. It happens out of the blue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chelsea's not particularly good. Liverpool, as long as they're not at home, they can be beaten. It's not inconceivable. And a draw puts you into the lottery, basically, right? It's a shootout. Now that they don't have replays. Replays made it really hard to get beaten. Right.
Replays, but also the replays were the smaller teams.
Right. They were also a holdover from what the cup was 100 years ago, where it'd be like, we'll just let's replay the game.
Replays will be back because they didn't.
They'll never bring them back.
Why?
Because
are they that allergic to money?
The big teams don't want to play those games.
Oh, I know.
There's so many more games now. So there's extra windows. There's extra this. There's
not for Cambridge United. Right. And
not that
they have a seat at the table.
Yeah, they don't. They have no say.
Yeah. I think the FA spans much wider.
The FA is supposed to represent all English.
But that's
football.
what I mean. I don't think they bend a knee to the 3 or 4 big clubs. You think
that COVID clear, they go back to replays? I don't think so.
Well, one other thing. We don't have a fucking World Cup in the middle of the season. Now we have to hurry up and get this season over by, right? So we can start the transfer window, so we can close it, so we can go do the World Cup. Anyway. But that's the point. We have to finish.
We haven't touched too much on Chelsea, who were also in a bit of a pickle. They're
Plymouth
still
Argyle.
Great socks.
They're
still not really playing that well. They should not have had trouble with this team. Lukaku still not connecting. The whole thing is weird. I think Tuchel's a great coach. I do think that the way he handled the Lukaku to Inter thing, maybe in retrospect, maybe I'm creating a narrative. Maybe he fucked up Lukaku a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, okay. The
I
interesting
do
thing
think
about
that
Chelsea is they don't have another game for another 2 weeks now.
They don't? Oh,
No.
because of that weird cancellation that I don't know about. That we
Yeah,
didn't figure out.
they are not playing. Sorry, they have the Club World Cup actually.
That's why they had their games
on
canceled.
Wednesday.
That's why
the Arsenal game is postponed.
Because they have to go to like somewhere in hell.
Mohammed bin Zayed Stadium.
Aha! In Saudi Arabia?
Abu Dhabi.
Oh, the other one. Oh, that's my hometown.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the Emirates, right? Abu Dhabi is the Emirates.
But so they'll send nobodies to that. But yeah, I mean, they've got a bit of a stretch.
Oh, no, they're going to try and win that. That's an important
You think so?
Yes, absolutely.
Why? Because of Roman and he wants to be on the
because
world stage?
I think that, and we have this problem, and we haven't touched on the African Cup of Nations final because neither of us watched it, unfortunately. So shout out to Senegal. Fantastic for Mane. I love it. Fantastic.
And I like seeing Salah cry.
Yes, I like seeing Salah cry. But it was very cagey, very 0-0, very ugh. Senegal was just far better, and they were the favorites going into it. So good for them. Shout out to African football. I love seeing crowds of fucking black people celebrating joy without a fucking white person anywhere, and there's thousands of them. For some reason, that makes me feel good. I don't know why. It just cultures being themselves makes me feel good. So shout out to Mane and Senegal. They all come back. What I was going to say was the Club World Cup is an important thing around the world. It's less important for our Eurocentric kind of folks who have the Premier League and the Champions League. Like, yeah, what do you mean I have to play in this tournament? I'm already the best team in the world. But for teams from South America and Asia and CAF and all these other places, it's their chance to be like, my league is good and I'm going to beat you. And these games matter. And around the world, it's a bigger deal. Like South America respects this tournament. And when the Brazilian teams go, they take it really fucking seriously. They're like, yeah, you think you're rich? Fucking European leagues are good? Watch this. They don't win very often, but they do try to win. Sure. And they take it seriously. Although, if I recall, Jurgen Klopp had a moment where he just fucking had a shit fit and was like, we're not sending anyone to this thing.
Oh, that's weird. Jurgen Klopp bitched, moaned, and complained about something?
Yes.
Has that ever happened before once?
Never. I didn't mention Liverpool. They did have Diaz play. They did have Harvey Elliott. Is that the guy who was going to be
that guy?
One of my championship sons?
No, he's
that I noticed
from ripping on Harry Kane.
Yeah, he not Harvey Elliott.
Yeah, I hope he breaks his leg again.
It was his ankle. But he was a friend of mine from the championship that I noticed coming out of Blackburn, just like Carvalho from Fulham. I didn't talk too much about the City game, but City got the kids on. My other son, my real son, not an adopted son, Liam Delap gets some time, scores a goal, but he was offside. You know, City seem to be targeting individual special players out of their academy that they hold on to, that they don't want to move on from, that could be valuable, whether they sell them or they become players. I think Delap becomes a little bit of leverage on the Holland front. I don't think, these are things. I mean, City has luxuries. They don't. It doesn't.
But this is
matter.
not a place where they have a luxury, right? Like we've talked
up
about
front.
it.
No.
So what? Unless somebody's coming here saying we'll give you $50 million for this unproven academy product, like of course you would put him. Hold on to him.
Yeah, and
right?
I think he was going to play. And Pep was really effusive about the young kids. But what I really liked was, one, Fulham came to play. They scored their goal. City were bad in the first half. They were.
But you did. You said that too. You said if Ake plays, Fulham will be on the board. Yeah. So
he played and he scored on his side. He got drawn out to him. But I think the Pep made some adjustment. It was one of these. No one knows what the adjustment is. But he probably just moved the guy 10 feet another direction, completely changed the way they play, and they just became City and had 90% possession for the rest of the game. I was like, how the fuck did they do that? Like, Pep is seeing shit that we don't see, that is just like, he knows that his team's out of tune. He took blame. He was like, I had this plan and they did something else and we had to change it and we changed it. It was fine. I was like,
So he
what was it?
is. Wait a minute. Pep Guardiola is Gordon Ramsay on those cooking shows,
Yeah.
and this was the kids' cooking show. You ever see the
Yeah.
difference? Was you fucking donkey, and then like, it's a kid. He's like, it's okay, sweetheart, it's all right. Like that's Liam Delapa. It's okay, sweetheart.
Yeah. So he brought the kids on. McAtee. They're all re-signing. There's a lot of groundswell within the City camp that Guardiola, whose contract is up in 18 months, will re-sign and do a clean 10 years at City.
Interesting.
So I think that if he does, City will keep winning. But I think that the narrative that City is breaking football is really a narrative about Pep. I don't think we're this good. I think we'd just be just the same as your Liverpools and Chelseas and sputtering if we didn't have Pep. I think he's
that's
good.
fair. Do you think that the Sancho ordeal changed the way that Manchester City view their academy and their prize, youngsters, and B, more importantly, do you think it changed how Pep treats them?
I think that everything about City is in line with Cruyff, Barcelona, Cruyff as coach, Masia as central system, and if you keep it moving, you keep developing, and when there is a moment that you have special players, you use them. But it's about identifying them and finding them in the moment. Like that one thing that I think Alex Ferguson always had right was you do build the team with youth and you do have those players because they create the through line that connects your team through history and to the fans, right? Like,
it's that,
like,
and they connect the rest of the players who come in to the ethos.
Yes. So Rashford and McTominay are actually way more important than any of the players that are on the team. Like, I think McTominay is really an important player for United, even though they all want to get rid of him. And I think for City, Phil Foden is way more important for them than Yaya Toure. Toure
than
Silva. Yeah. But
By
those
the way,
guys
Sterling was going to be you fucking donkey. Like that's who he's talking to when he says that.
I know. Poor Sterling just can't be loved.
But that's why I ask about Phil Foden, because you saw them let Sancho get away, and they went, Phil, what do you want? When can we give it to you? How much of it would you like?
I think Sancho didn't care. I think he's a Southern kid. He's not a City fan. He went and was bought by City.
Right. He's from London originally, right?
Yeah. He was not. He's not from the North. Like the shit that we don't understand. Like the North is the North. That shit is different. It's not London. If you're from London, you don't want to be there. You're in a foreign fucking country. You're like, I don't want to be in the North. The North is there's a wall. There's wildlings. I'm not into this. I'm going to stay in King's Landing. And if I have a Soggy Bottom, whatever the fuck that place was called, Flea Bottom, then that's where I'm from. And I'm never going to the wall ever again because it's cold and the sky is low to the ground. And no, I'm not going there. So that's the thing that's interesting. I mean, but then on the juxtaposition of that is Tosin Adebayo, who's the fullback for Fulham, who will really play, is really good, is a City product. He started at City at 8 years old, and he just couldn't crack the team. And Pep had to look at him and said, you know what? Go play at Fulham.
No.
But he'll carry City with him. Yeah.
Of course, every club who brings good academy products has plenty of that, right?
Yeah.
But
like Lamptey, right? Lamptey was tough against your team. He's a Chelsea kid. And he's going to be on your team.
I fucking hate playing Chelsea loan kids, or Chelsea products, I should say, because they just love a game against Tottenham.
By the way, what did you think of Brighton second half? I thought the first 15 minutes, you guys were on the ropes.
Oh,
but
no
you're
shit.
playing like you had a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, Tottenham with a lead was shaky. That's shocking. But
Basuma was good, like I said. I was holy shit, Basuma's petrifying.
I thought that Mope skied one early in late in the first half.
On that nice turn,
Yeah. It was just a terrible finish on a really good build-up play by Brenton Brightford.
He might be terrible at finishing there.
How about that?
He's not terrible at finishing other things.
There you go. No, I thought, like I said earlier, I thought Brighton had their chances, and I thought on a better day that they go into half with 2-1. Realistically, probably 1-1 because
I forgot Trossard wasn't playing.
Everything sort of went well for Spurs in the first half, right? Like
3
Brighton
shots,
missed their
3
chances.
goals, basically. Yeah.
Right. Brighton missed their chances, but you had a fluke on the second goal. In fact, the first goal was not nearly talked about enough because it was
really
an absolute dime from Harry Kane. But the second goal was a complete fluke. So, okay, somewhere in the middle, fine. Like XG probably evens those out.
Close,
Actually, in fact, XG has nothing to say much for Kane because he was so far out. But fine. So everything kind of went Spurs' way in the first half. They kind of get punched in the mouth. And thankfully, Kane pulls them from the abyss and scores the third goal, whereas everybody kind of went back into second gear at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, but what did you think? So I know you don't watch Brighton all the time, but you did get an A team of Brighton. Cucurella, Lamptey, Mulder, who had some good spots at the edge of the box and just skied him. A better finisher might have put him on target at least.
I understood what you have always. I'm not that I've never seen Brighton.
No,
but watching them closely for 90 minutes, I was like, they're not clinical. They're very good.
Very good.
They're not.
No,
clinical.
They don't have a guy, right?
But they
do have Basuma.
But they are enjoyable to watch.
They're so fun.
They play
tough.
sprightly football is what I would say, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they just but yeah, when they get in the dangerous areas, they very rarely have anything. It's almost like they're like, oh shit. They're basically virgins, right? Yeah. They're like, oh man, really good at talking to girls, all that stuff. They get into the bedroom, they're like, it does what? It gets wetter? Oh God. Oh.
Or the other analogy is that they're like pimp in training. They're like the 13-year-old guy who's kind of cool. His brother's 16. He kind of the girl, his brother's girlfriend's like him, and they're like, hey, get the fuck out of here. You got moves, you look right, but not really.
Not yet.
Or never. Minors. Right. Oh, Patson Daka on that team. God damn it. What are you doing, Potter?
He'd be great.
Anyway, I think we're getting close to the end. Let's talk about games coming up because they are on the way. Midweek games. Wow. Tomorrow. What? Newcastle. Against Everton.
Against sort of new Everton.
Yeah, this is the Battle of New. This is a game for Everton. This is a game for Newcastle. Like, I circle this one and go, you know what? We're going to go get this game. Right? Yeah. So that's a good one. Uncle Woy against West Ham. Not interesting. Don't really want that one. Burnley, Man United. These are some of these makeup games where if Burnley's going to get out of the bottom 3, are they going to get something against Man United? They barely reloaded. I don't expect away. Half of Burnley will be Man United fans anyway.
United after a loss is almost a lock, right? Like, I get it. You're in turf more, so it's not a gimme. It's a night game. It's probably going to be fucking raining and cold. So it is very Burnley.
Yeah.
But United just got punched, and they usually punch back pretty hard.
Yeah. And they played decent, to be fair. Sure. Norwich Crystal Palace. This game is just for me to watch Elise and Eze. More Elise. The more Elise I can see from Palace to go along with Gallagher, the better. I love it. This is a trap game for you. Tottenham, Southampton. This is a good game.
Well, they're going to play with 11 players this time. I'm still mad at the last time we played them, probably like 6 weeks ago, where Spurs just they got fucked on an offside, phantom offside with Kane.
You got sent. Did you get sent? Oh, they got sent.
They had a player sent off right before half, I think.
And that saved your ass because you were 1-0. Right. Because the first half you got destroyed. It was scary.
But again, now the thing for Spurs is frankly the amount of depth that we don't have because you've gotten rid of all the dead wood. Okay, you've got the sharpened, the finished products that you say you want, but God forbid if any of them go down, you're in a deep.
You know what? City's in that space. There is an argument to be made that you really want your squad to be at like 18 if it can be good enough, because that really makes it tight, really makes you able to play, and you're just like, these are the guys that play, and that's it.
Well, look, I mean, it's when Pochettino had it, he was rotating the fullbacks and like a center back every game. Yeah. Everybody else was pretty much nailed on. Now, you need maybe 1 or 2 more players.
We need competition, guys that are pushing.
Yeah. But at that point, yes. Yeah.
Then City versus Brentford. This game, not worried about City at home, but Brentford are interesting. I don't see it anymore. I can't see how they're going to get anything from
the
it.
magic is going out. Although
Aston Villa Leeds should be a good one. Yes.
Let me go back to City. Will we see Christian Eriksen in this game?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if he starts. I don't know if he's physically fit to start or
last 15 minutes.
Physically fit to not fucking die, God willing. I think he goes in the last 30 if it's close, right? Yeah. So he probably won't start. But if City are 2 up, then they'll do last 15 minutes to get him, kind of.
I wonder if more.
If it's a
City,
1-goal game.
Yeah, I wonder if more City kids will play. If City can get out to a big lead. Villa Leeds, that promises to be a good one. We talked about the player of the month. I shared with you from who scored. Emil Buendia getting a tune, coming back into line. A lot of Villa's good vibes from Villa. They really haven't lost a game they were supposed to win yet.
Yeah.
Except for Brentford, who they ask any Villa fan, they can't beat Brentford. So that was weird. And then this game would have been a good game on Thursday, Liverpool-Leicester, but now I don't think so. I think at home, Liverpool, with the way they play on set pieces, not even from their open play, Mane and Salah won't be back. I would imagine they'd get at least a week off. They're not going to play. They'd get a week off.
Yeah.
They just played a final.
Will. Yeah, they will. Yeah,
they got to fly in. I don't know. I think they'll give them a rest. But Leicester are so bad right now. This could be a nadir game. Maybe Rodgers even resigns. I don't even know. And then Wolves-Arsenal is interesting because I think the team that wins this can really sort of maybe stake a claim to an outside shot at the top 4. If Wolves lose, then I think we kind of go, okay, Wolves aren't really ready.
They are who we thought they were, yeah.
Right, but Matinho was a player of the month. Saz was the goalie of the month. Wolves, very, very, very good squad.
Hey, look,
if you fuck around on, they will beat you.
Yeah, look, they've won 4 of their last 5 in the Premier League. They've climbed up the table very quietly.
They still can't.
And there is a gap. There's a separation gap between them and Brighton at the 8-9 spot. They have a game in hand and 4 points and goal difference. So, yeah, like you said, put it this way. If they beat Arsenal, they go ahead of Arsenal. They go 1 point behind United, depending on their results. So, I mean, yeah, they're right in the European places.
So, listen to the show. Get involved. Go on FanHub. Go on Chop Sports. Get involved with our stuff because when the weeks are going and the games are going, we're covering them. We're on it. Let us know what you want to hear, and I'm going to take us out of here. That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the aforementioned Chop Sports Network and growing. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss a show. And we need you to rate and review the show. For Christ's sake, get involved. And subscribe on YouTube because we broadcast the show live the following day. And we would respond to your comments if you were live. Pause. So we watch ourselves on there like a